Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and I wanted to talk to you about the difference between slipping and relapsing. When you have a sexual addiction and you're in the groove and you're doing well and you are creating enough infrastructure and support in your life to help you make the right choices, you're in good, solid recovery. And then sometimes something derails you. It might be you lose your job, or it might be that your wife really gets angry with you. It might be that one of the kids gets sick. Or there may be a huge trigger that reminds you of something in your past that you're unable to work through. Now, you've heard me say it before. Patrick Carnes talks about having a good, strong committee to help you in your recovery. You're not strong enough to do it on your own. I promise you that. No matter how talented you are, no matter how determined you are, you need a committee of people that will help you through this process. Just had a man come back from a treatment center and he said, my gosh, I went to 3 treatment centers. He went to Gentle Path in Arizona. That's Patrick Carnes' facility, part of the Meadows. He went to PEP in Hattiesburg, and then he went to Alpha because he really had a propensity for young children. He had never acted on that, but they were concerned enough about his thinking. They felt like he needed all 3 treatment centers. Well, I had been harping on him for 2.5 years. We'll call him Joe. Joe, you need to access more of the fellowship. You need to talk to your sponsor more. You need to attend to the guys in your fellowship, text them, call them, have lunch with them, help them, be helped by them. And he got back from the treatment centers. He was actually gone 6 months. And he said each and every treatment center said there's a huge hole in your recovery program because you're not connecting to other people. And what we know is sexual addiction is an intimacy disorder, so it makes sense that you may not want to access enough fellowship. But I'm telling you, it is absolutely key to that committee that's going to make you a healthier individual. And the committee looks like this. It's a CSAT, somebody like myself, a certified sexual addictions therapist. Hopefully your partner has somebody who's been partner trained, who has partner sensitive techniques. Secondly, it is meetings. There may be a party that just wants to attend a meeting once in a while, but that's not good recovery. Although I have an 80-year-old sex addict in recovery who says, Carol, quit telling them to go to 90 and 90. If somebody's struggling, I do tell them that. Now, I know that this is just my recommendations. It's not etched in gold or stone, but I know what works. And so I say, go to meetings, at least get yourself to 2, if not 3. If you're struggling, 3, 4, 5, or 90 and 90. Because that's where you'll find the fellowship. And certainly you need a sponsor. As a therapist, I always defer to a sponsor, even if I believe that he or she is wrong. I defer to that sponsor because they're working a program, they're going to the meetings, they're helping my client. Somebody's got to defer to someone. I'm more than happy to defer. Again, even if I think they're wrong, I defer. It's not that big of a deal. So the committee is a CSAT. It is the meetings themselves. It is a good sponsor. It's fellowship, conversation, connection, and calls. And then the committee may involve a wife. The committee may involve a brother, a parent. You get to decide if people in the outside world can maneuver through your addiction. If it's traumatic, that's not a good committee member. So So, I really believe that it's imperative that you develop that committee because you're not strong enough to beat this thing on your own. And when those incidences come up that are stressing you out, that are making you feel bad about yourself, that's when the addict takes hold. You know, if you're a Christian, you probably heard that at your weakest moments, that's when the devil takes hold and, can bring you down. Well, it is that same kind of thought that this addiction is so compulsive and it waits for opportunities to nab you, to grab you, to seduce you back into old behaviors. So I was working with this man this week, and he had a good, solid recovery program. He had wanted to come to my group, which is a therapy group for sex addicts, but because he had some issues also with child porn, I wanted him to go to an offenders group. He had not offended, just like the other guy I was talking to you about had not offended. But I just felt that that would be a more helpful group. And he was a deacon in his church, and he came to see me weekly, and he participated in marital therapy with me. And although he wasn't real strong with fellowship calls, he was really connected to his therapy group. And he went to meetings. And now his life had changed, and he was in a job that kept him busy 12 hours a day, and it was 2 hours away from his home. And the guy was literally working 16 hours between driving and working and couldn't get to meetings. Well, that's when I recommend telephone meetings. They're very instrumental in keeping people on track. That's when I recommend Recovery Nation. That's an online support group where you actually do recovery materials, and then you have, they're not really chat rooms, they're message boards. And you can ask questions or weigh in on issues that somebody else has. It's a community. It's a committee. The next thing that I would recommend, that I also think is excellent, is Our Tribe. It's a wonderful application developed by a couple of CSATs, again, a certified sexual addictions therapist. Well, these guys got together and they know the recovery really well. And they put this app together, and now there are tribes of men all over the world who partake in supporting each other. And that's one of the best things about a treatment center, is you get really close with these guys, and then you have after calls with them, sometimes once a week, most of the time once a week, to check in and see how they're doing now that they're at home, now that they're back at work, now that they're getting a divorce from their wife, now that they're getting back with their wife. So you need to look at helpful ways of getting together. I have a funny story. Most of you know I have an internet radio show called Sex Help with Carol the Coach. And I had a client. She was a woman. And there's only two women's groups for sex addicts. And so she got on Facebook and she put in sexual addiction recovery, and she found a couple of groups. And interestingly enough, she was chatting with them, and she said, "Hey, I'm from Indianapolis." And they go, "Oh my gosh, do you know Carol the Coach?" Because they'd heard my radio show. She said, "Well, yes, Carol is my counselor." And they're like, "Oh, what's she like? Tell me about her." I am who I am, and you see what you get. I'm very advice-oriented. I'm very structured. I hope I'm very personable, right, Boo? Am I personable? Are you happy with your mommy? Yeah, that's why I always have Boo here with me. I want you to see that, we live regular lives just like you. And this is my fur baby, aren't you, Boo? Yeah. So the funny story is that she said, "Wow, I had no idea, Carol, that you were a counselor that so many people around the world knew. Well, I don't know about the world, but having had an internet radio show, I have made it my mission to be available as part of your committee. And if you need something, you can contact me through my website, Sex Help with Carol the Coach, or you can email me at carol@carolthecoach.com, or you can, give me a call, 317-847-2244, because if your state is a state that allows me to consult with you through Skype, through video, through Zoom, I'd be more than happy to do that too. Now I charge, but just know that, that way you're at least getting some good guidance as to how you can develop your own committee and your own resources. So thanks for listening to this video. And I love that you're part of my YouTube channel. I know that we're all making a difference together. Develop your committee. You're worth it, and I promise it will pay dividends 100-fold. And as I say at the end of every radio show, there'll only be one of you at all times, so fearlessly have the courage to be yourself. We'll see you next week.